Hello there, YouTubers. This is a review of the film Mad Max Fury Road. It was with much anticipation that I waited the release of this movie. I'm a very, very big fan of the Mad Max series. If you're not familiar with the character or the films, the original film Mad Max was released, I believe, in 1979 or something like that. And it's an Australian film directed by George Miller. And this film depicted Australia after civilization had broken down, and pretty much it was everybody for themselves. And the character of Max was a police officer, and he was on vacation with his family, and he ran afoul of like a motorcycle gang. And in the course of dealing with them, his wife and his child were killed by this gang, and the rest of the movie is pretty much with him trying to get revenge on these guys for doing this. The films following that were The Road Warrior, which was him wandering in the wasteland after the apocalypse, pretty much just trying to survive. And he ran into some people that were holed up in a oil refinery, and this gang was always raiding this oil refinery, trying to, take it, because gasoline and oil and this sort of thing, fuel was a very important thing to have. When you're in a wasteland, you need fuel to get from one area to another. And that pretty much the movie was about, the conflict that these groups had. The third film was Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, where Max runs across these kids living out in the desert, and apparently they had been on an airplane during the apocalypse, and the plane crashed out in the desert, and they pretty much had to survive on their own. And a bunch of these kids and Max, they make their way to this place called Bartertown, which is run by a character played by Tina Turner. And Max kind of runs afoul of her. And I'm not going to give you the whole movie. I mean, you can go and watch it. But, that was the third one in the series. This is like a continuation of the Mad Max story, or you might call it a reboot. And this stars Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron. And this is also supposedly set in Australia after apocalypse. And what we have here is Max is captured by these followers of this warlord. And he's basically not treated very well and kind of held as a prisoner. I don't want to give away too many spoilers here, but I have to, talk about the film to review it. So if there's a few spoilers, I'm sorry. And the heavy in this film is a guy, I believe he's called Immortus or something like that. And he's this old guy, and he always wears a mask. He kind of reminds me of Darth Vader. He wears like a skull mask. And apparently he's in charge of an area where there's about the only supply of water. And occasionally he will open up these valves and they will release water out to these basically peasants, I guess you'd call them. And that's their only source of water, is to get it from him. And the plot is Ferosa, played by, I believe it's pronounced Ferosa, played by Charlize Theron. She's driving a tanker truck full of water, and I believe she's supposedly going to take it and trade it for gasoline. This is what I've got out of the plot anyway. Instead of what she's doing is she's basically kidnapping or taking to freedom a bunch of the warlords, basically sex slaves, but his brides or sex slaves or whatever you want to call them. It's a handful of good-looking women. Apparently the only good-looking women still left in Australia, if you get what I mean here. And she's taking them to freedom, getting them away from him. And when he finds this out, he's rather pissed off, and he sends his men out, after her and so forth. And eventually she meets up with Tom Hardy, and, he agrees to help her and this sort of thing. The main focus of this film, though, is not the characters or the plot, but it's pretty much the action and the chase scenes. There's 2 rather lengthy chase scenes in this movie. The first one has all kinds of crazy stunts. I don't know how many of these stunts are real live action stunts and how much is CGI, but I believe a large percentage of the stunts are actually live stunts, and they're pretty impressive. The vehicles that they have in this film are pretty over the top, pretty crazy. I've never seen anything like some of them that they've got. Pretty unique. I'm going to have to recommend this film. If you're a fan of action, or if you're a fan of the Mad Max series, I will recommend it. I got the Blu-ray of this, and with it they give you the Blu-ray, they give you a DVD, and then you are able, if you want, you are able to download a digital copy of the film, like to your computer or whatever. And based on the action and stunts and things like this, I do recommend the film. If you're looking for a real complicated or deep plot here, or real complex character development, you're not going to find it, but that's not what this series is all about. This series is about the action, and they deliver it pretty spectacularly here. I do recommend it, and if you want to go back and check out the earlier Mad Max films, I would recommend that. The Road Warrior in particular is one of my favorite films, and I think it's really well done. Almost all the stunts in The Road Warrior are live action. I think there's only one short CGI segment in that one. But as I say, I highly recommend this film for action movie fanatics, for Mad Max fans, and check it out. The sound, a brief note on the sound. The sound on the Blu-ray is absolutely fantastic. I mean, there's vehicle noise and crashes and just sound, all around you, like you're right in the middle of the action. I rate it very highly for the sound and for the surround effects. So if you want to see a great action movie with some crazy vehicles and in an after-apocalyptic setting, check out Mad Max Fury Road. As always, I'd like to thank you for watching my reviews. Comment, rate, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.